During the earthquake, I pulled back Tina, who wanted to rush in and save someone she cared about. As a result, I broke a leg. Later, on our wedding day, that boy jumped off a building because his face was disfigured. Tina said nothing, taking care of me for decades as I underwent rehabilitation with my injured leg. On our 10th anniversary, she pushed me, the disabled, into the middle of the road. Before she walked away, she asked, "Ben, do you understand what it feels like to be completely helpless?" It was when the car ran over me that I realized how much she truly hated me. As I opened my eyes again, reborn to the time the house collapsed, I let go of her hand. "Tina, run." When the load-bearing wall fell, the Tina in front of me decisively shook off my hand. My steps faltered as I wanted to rush to her, looking at her through the heavy smoke and dust. In my past life, I had pulled her back with all my might, using my body to shield her from the falling debris. The sharp rocks struck down, and the extreme pain made me lose my senses momentarily. At that time, I thought I was going to die and used my final strength to whisper in her ear, "Tina, be happy." Later, when I woke up in the hospital and saw only half of my right leg, I felt a complicated mix of emotions. Realizing I could no longer continue my beloved fencing, I broke down in despair, crying. But when Tina's mother came to see me, they knelt down, begging me not to cry, saying they'd only get up if I stopped crying. The previously cheerful girl, now at a loss, stood by my side, wiping away my tears with trembling hands. "Ben, let's get married. I'll take care of you for a lifetime." At that moment, the heavy love momentarily filled the deep chasm within me. I always thought the deep gaze Tina gave me was love, until later when the tire ran over me, I realized it was sheer hatred. "No, I have to save Eric. She hasn't come out yet." Tina's shout interrupted my recollection. She waved her hands, signaling me not to approach her. I looked at her youthful face, remembering 10 years of memories. I remembered her accompanying me through countless rehabilitation sessions, remembered how her strong arms held me when I fell. But I also remembered that on our 10th wedding anniversary, she pushed me, with my prosthetic leg removed, into the middle of the road, whispering in my ear, "Ben, do you remember what day it is? My Eric, he's been gone for 10 years. She had agreed to my confession. Everything was supposed to get better. I want you to feel this sense of helplessness too." Her voice was filled with such hatred, like a sharp dagger piercing my heart. The speeding car wheels rolled over me, and the bright red blood stained the gift in my clothes. It was a surprise I had prepared for Tina on our 10th anniversary. "Don't come near me." Tina turned and ran upstairs, looking back at me as if she expected me to stop her at all costs. But this time I wouldn't anymore. Afterward, when the rescue team found me and got me into the vehicle, Tina and Eric were nowhere to be found. I didn't know if she met him, if she saved the boy she loved. As I closed my eyes, Tina's words from my past life echoed in my ears. "Life and death are determined by fate. Why do you think you have the right to interfere with my life and death? I love Eric. I'd die for her willingly. What gives you the right to stop me?" My 10 years of first love couldn't compare to their 1 month together. Originally proactive and motivated, she skipped an exam for a word of praise, missing out on all her awards. She said she had never met someone who fit her wishes so perfectly before. Yet, she never considered if such a flawless person was even possible. The rescue car took us to the hospital for a check-up. There, I saw Tina's mother, who grabbed my hand in distress. "Where's Tina?" I shook my head. "I didn't know. Weren't you together? How could you not save her?" I was at a loss for words. In my past life, Tina's mother was initially grateful to me. Later, she repeatedly brought up my disability, believing that her daughter's acceptance of me was my blessing. She even secretly tried setting her up with others multiple times. Each time I confronted her, she'd pretend to have a heart condition, and Tina would shield her and tell me to shut up. She wanted to save someone. I couldn't stop her. I looked at Tina's mother, not wanting to say anything more. Tina lost her father early in life, raised solely by her mother. With graduation just around the corner, if anything happened to her, I didn't know if her mother could handle it. How could you let her? How could you watch her die? How can you be so heartless? People began to gather around as Tina's mother gripped her chest and collapsed on the ground, wailing loudly. My daughter spent so many years with him, took care of him for so long, and he ran out alone, leaving my daughter inside. Nearby journalists started setting up cameras to film me, while passers-by lifted their phones, eager to record it all. I could already imagine how many people online, unaware of the full story, would call me ungrateful. But just then, a bloodied stretcher was carried in through the door. Seeing it, Tina's mother, who had been sitting on the floor, sprang up like a carp. It was Tina, covered in blood, with bandages tightly wrapped around her missing arm, her flesh barely visible. Are you crazy? Why did you try rescuing someone? If something had happened to you, how would I survive? Her despairing cries echoed throughout the corridor, while Tina weakly smiled. I saved Eric. I saved Eric. I'd do anything as long as Eric is safe. The faces of people around changed. Eric? Isn't that another boy? Hasn't she been with someone for a long time? Why is there another Eric? Isn't this emotional blackmail? Only your daughter's life matters, but everyone else's doesn't? As the public opinion began to shift, Tina's mother stopped trying to explain, her face turning pale as she fell back, no longer uttering a word. This time, it wasn't pretend. Medical staff rushed towards them, while I turned and walked into the exam room across the hall, not bothering anymore. Everything came back normal from my checkup. When I left the hospital, I heard news about Tina. They said she survived, but unfortunately, she'd lose an arm and needed an amputation. In this life, fate has switched things around. She's the one who got hurt, and she's the one who saved her loved one. I just hope Eric can be there for her on the road ahead. I stood outside the ICU, staring at the blinking red light, with images of Eric's face from a past life flashing in my mind. When the building shook, and everyone was running out, Eric clung to his phone, his tone resolute. Quick, say you love me, otherwise, I'll die right here. I'm not running. If you don't agree, I'm not living. I've seen him and that film director, Lily, break up and get back together. I've also heard him scoffingly tell women around him, Tina, I'm just playing with her. If I'm not serious, how would she know real sorrow? So I tried to stop Tina. I wanted to help her dodge a disaster she wasn't meant to face, even if she developed feelings for someone else, even if she harshly pushed me away for someone else. Yet I still cherished our years of friendship. To have a clear conscience, I wanted to pull her out of the mire. But since she's so determined to jump, as she said, it's true that life and death are destined, and wealth and honor lie with fate. It was a month later when I saw Tina again. Her once prideful right hand for drawing was gone. Her right arm now just scarred, bundled up and difficult to move. Tina's mom looked like she'd aged 10 years. Her voice had gone hoarse, then recovered, then hoarse again, to the point it couldn't make a sound anymore. I took a bouquet of flowers when I went to welcome her out of the hospital and calmly told her, we're breaking up. Tina didn't try to stop me because Eric had visited many times during her recovery. He confessed his love for her, swearing to be with her forever. I guess, for both of us, this was a happy ending. After Tina left, I lingered, lost in thought in her now empty hospital room. It was where I once stayed in a past life. Back then, I thought Tina could save me. But now, I realize only I could save myself. Thinking I'd see Tina and Eric happily together, I was surprised to catch Eric and Lily in a tight embrace, kissing passionately. My phone rang suddenly, snapping me out of it. It was my mom calling. When I answered the phone, I glanced down. Tina was already downstairs, and Lily was nowhere in sight. Eric had a bouquet of roses, which she happily took as she ran into Tina's arms, her face beaming with happiness. Hey, Mom. I answered the call, but my eyes stayed locked on the street below. Tina had no idea about what just happened. She tried to lean on Eric, but her missing arm made it hard to embrace him fully. Ben, where did you go? My mom's voice sounded anxious. In a past life, after I lost my leg, it broke her heart. But she never blamed Tina. She only mentioned in private that she wondered if Tina, with her deep intentions, was a good choice for me. But Tina was always so polite to her and always gentle with me. Because of this, I argued with my mom a few times, asking her not to overthink it. After living through it again, I now understand, instincts born out of love are real. If I had listened to her earlier, maybe things would have turned out differently. Don't worry, Mom. I said goodbye to Tina. I softened my tone, but at that moment, my body felt electrified. Not far away, someone stood among the flower beds, hands in pockets, looking up at me with a knowing smile. They raised a finger to their lips in a shoe gesture, eyes flashing a warning not to speak out. Frankly, for someone like Eric, his romantic entanglements aren't surprising. Even in the film department, he stood out. His deep, narrow eyes seemed filled with starlit skies, bewitching anyone he glanced at. Rumor has it that some well-known directors had already offered him scripts, but Eric declined, saying he wanted to save his debut for Lily. Sadly, the past life didn't go that way. An earthquake scarred his prized face, ruining his looks. Tina once left me, post-recovery, to secretly visit Eric, but he refused to see her. She always thought the scars kept him from seeing her, and she believed she was desperate to marry me. What she didn't know was the day Eric jumped from that building. Lily posted a photo of her hand interlocked with another man's, looking blissfully happy. I endured 10 grueling years after losing a leg without feeling the regret Eric left in her heart. She blamed all her struggles on me, not realizing she meant nothing to him from the beginning. Years ago, in my despair, now I see, how is my one-sided loyalty any different from Tina's determined wishfulness? Back at school, most of it had been rebuilt. With graduation looming, everyone was sending out resumes. In the past life, Tina was noticeably outstanding, grabbing HR's attention effortlessly amid the crowd. But now, she sat before small, overlooked companies, awkwardly writing her name with her clumsy left hand. Most companies didn't say anything upfront, but their sympathetic gazes said it all. Tina was now feeling the helpless despair I had once experienced. Ben, I'd like to know your view on balancing career and family, asked the interviewer, holding my resume with curiosity. Single applicants often face such questions, which I understood. I thought back, memories dancing in my head, then spoke firmly. I was born to be a mountain, not a stream. The interviewer looked momentarily stunned, but then smiled warmly and nodded in approval. All right, Ben, one last question. You chose to be a wheelchair fencing coach. Can you tell us what that means to you? I felt my hand brush against my right knee under the table, gently rotating my ankle. The feeling of having something lost and regained still lingers in my heart, and it won't go away. In my past life, I hit so many roadblocks and ended up hating fencing, which I once loved. Every time I saw a competition on TV, I'd go crazy and throw things at the screen. It wasn't until much later, when I was calmer, that I tried to understand wheelchair fencing. The female coach I met handed me a sword and told me that even without legs, I could still fly if I grew wings. Unfortunately, by then, my body had deteriorated too much to pick up my dream again. Now that I have another chance and understand the pain I went through, I want others to find joy in life with me. The motto faster, higher, further embodies a mindset for me. Physical limitations should never hold anyone back from chasing their dreams. Those were the words my coach told me, and they were a comfort to myself in that difficult time. As the event ended, I saw Tina and Eric. She was standing next to him, really striking. Tina, don't worry about a job. I'll take care of you, he says. Hearing that familiar conversation made me smile a little. I'll set you up with a job through some connections. One that's not too hard but pays well. I don't need your help. I don't believe no company would hire me. Eric, just give me some time. Trust me. Eric clearly didn't like Tina. He was being considerate just to avoid criticism. But a privileged girl like Tina wasn't one to take handouts from a guy. Even now, she believes she can make it big. But her grades have a glaring stain from skipping an exam to support Eric in his competition. Adding to that, physical recovery is a slow process. Tina has lost the head start she had in her previous life. Reaching her former heights now would take monumental effort. I walked past them both without turning my head. But as I passed, I clearly heard Tina raise her voice. "Eric, I'll make you happy." Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her turn to hug his waist, with her eyes glancing in my direction. I pretended not to hear, didn't look back, and my mind drifted back to when an 18-year-old girl stood outside my building all night, holding a jar filled with stars. She stammered, telling me, "Ben, we got accepted into the same college. Can we be together? We'd definitely be happy." Closing my eyes, I could still see the floating willows and her sweat-soaked white shirt. After so much effort to be together, we eventually lost to time. "Ben," a sweet voice snapped me back. Linda was coming over, bouncing around and crashing into my arms. "Come be an actor in my graduation show." Linda and I met through a club. She was studying directing and had a well-off family, planning to study abroad after graduation. Without the worries most her age have, her biggest concern now was her graduation project, a short film. I nodded and agreed. Maybe she sensed my mood post-breakup, so she casually stood to my right, blocking Tina and Eric from view. Tina's mom came by school the other day and caused a scene with Eric, demanding he marry Tina soon. "Anyone would crumble under a mother-in-law like that," she said, watching my reaction carefully. "Linda, Tina and I broke up. I'm not interested in hearing about her anymore. I'm facing major life decisions right now, and there are far more important things than love. I don't want someone who'll never be part of my life again to interfere with it. That's my punishment." Linda's project was inspired by a female principal from a mountain village. I was playing a boy pressured by his family to leave school and work in the city. During rehearsals, I noticed we were right next to Lily's space, where Eric was starring in her script. The two of them being together all the time caused a stir across half the campus, but due to Lily's family background, nobody dared to gossip. A company Tina applied to had shown interest but suddenly went silent. Left with no choice, she accepted Eric's recommendation and used connections to land a job. I hear it pays well. However, this means she'll be in a position she once despised due to favoritism. In my past life, she'd be going through rehab. This is the harshest time, repeatedly accepting her changes and facing her deepest pain. Tina's getting emotionally unstable and relies on Eric's company to fill her void. Yet Eric's mind isn't on her. To stay sharp for the camera, he maintains strict routines and, possibly thanks to basking in romance, he looks even more attractive. During breaks, I often overheard her on the phone, annoyed. "I told you I'm busy. The team has a meeting tonight, and I can't go out with you." Sometimes, when Tina came looking for her, she'd make excuses to leave, telling her friends, "Don't let her know I'm here." On Valentine's Day, Tina came with presents for Eric. But he was busy rehearsing and didn't even greet her, sparking her anger in front of everyone. She threw the gift on the ground and coldly challenged, "Eric, I called you so many times. What are you trying to do?" In the moment, everyone was stunned. Eric didn't spare a kind word. He always considered himself a hit with the ladies and never took such offense. He snapped back, "Tina, I'm busy. We normal people have lots to do every day, not like you're so free." He hit hard on the words normal people, clearly pushing Tina's buttons. She stood there, almost speechless with anger. "Eric, do you have a heart? Who am I like this for? Don't you have any shame? I didn't ask you to save me. It was your own decision. Maybe I would have been fine without you. Do you want me to be a thankless servant? Don't forget who got you this job, Tina. I owe you nothing." Tina was fuming and anxious. She wanted to point at him but could only shake her empty sleeve, nearly tripping over a chair. From afar, I looked at Tina, once praised by teachers as a genius, now standing defeated and humiliated in silence. My heart couldn't bear it, and I looked down. People only understand the value of things after they've lost them. Otherwise, they can't truly feel it. Just like Eric, who would never realize what he'd be like without Tina. And like Tina, who might not have faced her situation if I hadn't intervened back then. So, back then, she didn't thank me just as Eric doesn't thank her now. That day's rehearsal was disrupted. After everyone left, I stayed to practice. In the short film, I played a martial artist emerging from the mountains. I had to showcase sword skills at the movie's end. But, having been reborn, the moves felt unfamiliar, so I kept practicing repeatedly. Eventually, the stage lights went out. While practicing my sword thrusts in the dim light, I noticed a shadowy figure sitting in the audience. "Who's there?" Startled, I nearly dropped my sword. "You're amazing." It was Lily. She raised an eyebrow, her dark eyes ghostly. "Tina doesn't deserve you." I thought she was warning me to keep quiet, so I brought up the topic myself. "About you and Eric, I won't tell anyone." She chuckled softly, her face softening with a hint of intoxication as she moved closer to me. "Eric isn't right. I want a leading man like you. He's too flattering. You're resilient like wild grass." I smelt her perfume mixed with alcohol, frowned, and stepped back. She saw herself as a grand artist, and with her unique background, she flirted indiscriminately. Some guys might tolerate this for their own reasons, but I coolly glanced at her and stepped back. "My relationships are my business. They have nothing to do with you." I took off my costume, intending to leave, but Lily followed and grabbed my sleeve. "Ben, has anyone ever told you you're different? If we get together, do you think Tina would be upset? Would you like to see her try to win you back?" I admit, for a moment I was tempted, but quickly buried the thought. I don't need a woman's regret or to compare myself to a woman to prove my worth. I'm good enough without anyone highlighting it. I don't want any more ties with Tina. If you bother me again, I'll spill what I know, which won't benefit you. I coldly took off my costume and left the theater. After that day, Tina started giving Eric the cold shoulder. She stopped visiting him at the theater and didn't show up with him at school. She thought it would be punishment for Eric, but didn't realize it was exactly what he wanted. On my birthday, Linda organized the entire crew to celebrate for me. At the restaurant, I received an anonymous text. "Ben, happy birthday." I instinctively thought of Tina. Her first love letter to me at 17 started with the same greeting. But without much hesitation, I deleted it. As we left the restaurant, surrounded by people on the way back to school, I had a little too much to drink. Girls beside me moved to help but hesitated and pulled back. I noticed but stayed silent. Under the street lamp, I saw a small, lonely figure. The girl at my side noticed first and walked off quietly. Then, Tina's voice was tightly controlled but still betrayed her emotions. "Happy birthday." After this brief exchange, I nodded. "Thanks." She was holding a bunch of ugly paper stars. "They're not well made." Every step she took forward, I took one back. The wind howled, scattering the paper stars. Neither of us bent down to pick them up. "I'm going to Beijing to get a prosthetic," she said, with a hint of grievance. In our 4 years together, I never missed any of her major events. I was by her side through all her tough times, like when she broke her arm in sophomore year after a bike accident and still brought the birthday cake she made to me. When I rolled up her sleeve, she burst into tears, such a proud person reduced to this before me. But now, at such a hard time, I won't be there for her anymore. Good luck. No hint of a smile crossed my face as I coldly said those words. "Ben, why are you so heartless? Can't we at least be friends?" People next to me were gazing over, their eyes questioning. I raised my eyes and looked straight at her. "Tina, don't call me that. You don't deserve to. You think it's an old flame rekindling, but really, it's just you wanting some warmth after feeling tossed aside. But you should know, I can't stand even a hint of betrayal. When you insisted on pushing me away, you should have realized we could never be friends. Tina, don't try to use your so-called deep persona to guilt-trip me. Fate decides life and death, wealth and privilege, that's your choice, so bear it on your own." I gave her a smile and then walked over to join my friends, heading off together into the distance. The days leading up to graduation just flew by. With all the rehearsals, a month went by without me even noticing. Lily started giving me expensive gifts every now and then, like a luxury brand bracelet or some limited edition shoes. I knew it wasn't love at first sight. She was just playing a game when she was bored. I didn't pay it any mind, since I got an offer from the provincial team coach. I was starting to coach, planning to train a newly formed fencing team. 3 months from now, we're heading to an important competition. On Eric's birthday, Tina suddenly came back. She showed up with her mom, now wearing a new prosthetic arm. They clearly planned to come unannounced, hoping to break the ice and surprise Eric. Tina's mom said all this to me. After everything that's happened, she looked worn out and was strangely gentle towards me. Ben, she's like a child who never grows up, always needing care. You've known her for years. You know she can be impulsive and do reckless things. But she's sentimental at heart. She used to tell other men that after we got married in a previous life, which was pretty obvious what she meant. Hearing it now makes me sick. No one's a perpetual child. She's an adult and should be responsible for her actions. Whether she's sentimental or not isn't my concern. She's got a boyfriend now. Go talk to her. I was about to leave when Tina's mom stopped me. Listen, I think you're great and worth pairing up with Tina, or else you know she and her boyfriend are doing pretty well. He's got a job too. To put it bluntly, if she hadn't lost an arm, you wouldn't even be in the picture. She still spoke proudly about her daughter. Clearly unaware Tina had hooked up connections for work and Eric's arguments. Tina's mom wasn't fond of me, but Eric seemed too wild for her liking, so she wanted me to take over the mess. I knew how difficult she was from before and wondered how this pampered mom and a rich kid like Eric would clash. So I wished them success, I guess. Hope they last long and live happily ever after. No need to set me up. I'm not good enough for your precious boy. Tina's mom let out a cold snort, grabbed her bag angrily, and started to leave. As her hand reached out, I noticed her fingers were clubbed, which meant serious heart issues. I stopped right there, afraid my words would upset her further. Mom, come on, let's find Eric. As she opened the door, Tina's voice echoed down the hall. Laughter and chatter followed. I closed the door, knelt down, and quietly tidied up some props. Linda said Tina booked a big restaurant, so a lot of people from both crews went to join the fun. I wasn't going. I packed up and left. Every day I was coaching the provincial team, so I didn't have time for gossip. But just as I got near the school gate, I saw an ambulance rushing in and a crowd running towards the performance building. Let's hurry. Heard a senior from the drama department got caught cheating by his girlfriend. I later heard the details from Linda. She said that a group of people eagerly flung open the dressing room door with Tina and her mom, only to find Eric and Lily in disarray, wrapped in each other's arms. With a flourish of dramatic expressions, she described, the two were so lost in each other like they didn't know the world existed. Tina was so shocked she just stood there frozen, unable to say a word. Her mom, furious, turned white before lunging at Eric, attempting to pull her hair and hit her, but Eric kicked her in the chest, knocking her to the ground. Tina tried to help and ended up scuffling with Lily. Everything got captured by someone filming the whole thing as a potential surprise. I waved off Linda, indicating I didn't want to hear more, but she continued. It wasn't over. During the brawl, someone pushed Tina, causing her to fall, and there was a pool of blood. I was stunned. I choked on a sip of water. Turned out Tina was 3 months pregnant, and just like that, she lost the baby. The aftermath was still a mystery. Considering she and Eric hadn't been together that long, I wondered what Eric would feel upon knowing this. Tina's mom ended up in the hospital too. Word was she had a heart attack and was nearly gone but was rushed to the ICU. Ben, you're lucky. Breaking up with Tina was a blessing in disguise. You don't need to get involved in that mess. You have such good fortune. Tina only did well with you around. Too bad she didn't appreciate it. She got what she deserved. Linda continued animatedly, her words a bit harsh, but I knew she was genuinely upset for me. All right, Linda, let's not talk about Tina anymore. She's just someone I've known a while. Here, let me show you one of the girls on my team. Look how well she executes the moves. I grabbed my phone, and on the screen was a girl who'd lost her legs to polio. She held a sword high and took her opponent down with one swift move. Before she started training, she almost gave in to her parents and married a deaf, mute man she'd never met. But this skill gave her the courage to say no to the family bullying her. Ben, you're amazing. Linda watched with teary eyes and hugged me tightly. When I become a director, I'm definitely turning your story into a movie. The graduation assessment came as scheduled. Linda's short film was a success. At the end, a group of girls held hands and loudly recited, I am a mountain. In that chorus of voices, I put on my fencing gear and demonstrated my skills on stage. I wanted to look down from the highest peaks, rising gracefully above the mediocre valleys. In the flaring hem of my coat, I seemed to see speeding cars and a person in a wheelchair, lost and helpless, with tears in her eyes, whispering in despair. Help me. Can anyone help me? Across that impossible to reach realm, I answered her question. I can save you, I will save you. So the traffic ceased its noise, and I grew legs, standing again, pulling myself to safety through the swirling dust. In this new life, I promised to cherish myself. Thunderous applause erupted from the audience. I spotted Tina, crying uncontrollably in the crowd. The first to present flowers was Lily, carrying a bouquet so big it nearly hid her entirely. She walked up to me. Ben, you did great today. In bright letters, the center of that bouquet read, Ben, I like you. But I didn't take it. In the end, Linda, as the organizer, accepted the flowers on my behalf and politely responded, Thank you for your support. While packing in the backstage, a figure stood in the doorway, looking straight at me. I turned. It was Tina. She struggled over, opening her arms. Ben, we're graduating. Can I have a hug? We both knew this was likely our last chance to meet. Seeing her mechanical arm peek from her sleeve softened my heart a bit. Ben, be happy. Her voice choked up. In this new life, the phrase had become hers to say to me. Fate's twists are indeed curious. If only, when I rushed in, you'd reached out to pull me back. Maybe I'd have realized my mistakes. Ben, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Tina's lips quivered, and her tears fell as she bowed her head. I laughed. Tina, someone who can't own up to their actions is a coward. If you didn't regret it, I'd have a shred more respect for you. You don't need my forgiveness. I'm not important to you, just as you're not to me. Never seeing each other again is a blessing for both. I finished packing and left the performance room. This time, all my dark past should finally be over. After leaving school, I rarely paid attention to those people's news. Even when Linda told me about Tina's mom's fatal complication during surgery, or Eric's parents causing a scene at Tina's house, or Tina borrowing money for surgery after losing her job, only Lily kept messaging me non-stop, telling me she'd broken up with Eric and asking if I wanted to be the male lead in her movie. I never replied. To me, women who rely on money and power to force others aren't appealing at all. I was busy coaching my team for a competition, exhausted every day. With the competition 10 days away, I was taking the team to the venue. Adaptive sports demand more time to adjust, so I worried about potential mishaps. The night we arrived at the hotel, Linda suddenly called me. Ben, did you see your trending? Her voice was urgent. She hung up, sending me a video. In it, the part showed Tina's mother yelling at me in the hospital on the day of the earthquake. The video was cropped, ending right when Tina's mom accused me of not saving her. My indifferent expression was edited into memes, the text saying not my problem whether she lives or dies. My identity was exposed along with my entire team. Commenters, unaware of the truth, reacted aggressively. If she can't save those close to her, how can she be expected to care for disabled people? Is she doing it on purpose since she's a athletics coach and wants more disabled people? Cancel her team's entry. Does a coach like her deserve a place in the competition? The attacks extended from me to the whole team and then to its members. Did you piss someone off? Why's the video so perfectly timed to target you? Linda's words brought me back to my senses. I found the original video online, spotting a familiar profile among the shares. Lily using the same profile picture from before. One that she had when she posted something that made Eric lose it. It's Lily. Saying it sent a shiver down my spine. Given Lily's influential background, her manipulating public opinion this way had an obvious aim. In my frustration, a strange number called. Ben, did you see the trending topic? Despite the voice changer, I recognized Lily's voice. What do you want? Drop your coaching role and join my team. Otherwise, it's not just your reputation at stake. I can make sure your whole team can't compete. After a long silence, I was sitting alone in the dark room lost in thought. Lily has always been kind of wild. If I don't agree with her, I can't even imagine what kind of mess might unfold. It's a critical time for all of us, and I don't want my personal issues to mess up this competition everyone has been working hard for. But I also care about how I feel. I've been looking forward to this project for a while, and I believe I can handle this position. I don't want to give it up so easily. Ben, have you thought about where the video came from? Linda's words snapped me back to the moment. That day, I tried to recall. It was all a bit hazy, but besides Tina and her mom, I don't remember anyone else there who really knew me. This happened a long time ago. Unless someone close to me deliberately leaked it, it wouldn't likely be used as a threat. So who could this person be? After a moment's thought, I dialed Tina's number. Ben, she started quickly on the other end, voice urgent. It wasn't me who released the video. Her rushed denial actually made me more suspicious. It was your mom, right? My heart skipped a beat as I asked. When she didn't answer immediately, I felt I already knew the truth. Ben, I'm sorry. She's already like this. I can't blame her anymore. I'm willing to take responsibility for everything that happens. I'll go explain, clear everything up. Okay? I let out a cold laugh. In what position could she explain? And how would she prove who she is? Waiting for her to explain might lead to ruinous consequences. The full video, can you find it? Right now, releasing it with Tina's explanation was probably the shortest route to ending all this online drama quickly. The video was bought by Lily. She paid for all our surgery fees, so I guess only she has the right to publicly release it now. I used to like the sound of Tina's voice, but now it felt so distant. My phone slipped from my palm and hit the floor. The provincial team urgently contacted my supervisor, and the head coach called me. I picked up, expecting a reprimand, but no, the voice on the other end was surprisingly gentle. Ben, don't worry, we're trying to figure it out. I couldn't help but recall standing in the interview location when I said this. Physical limitations shouldn't bind the pursuit of dreams. My team had been through so much. Many saw this competition as their one shot in life. If they didn't win and make it to nationals, it would be over for them. This dream wasn't just mine. It was all theirs. Was I really going to let Lily ruin all that? Sister Xiaoyu, blame it on me instead. I'll resign as coach just so the kids can compete. Once the contest is over, we'll find a way. But I knew compromising would mark a stain on my career, one that would be tough to clean later. My girls already used up all their courage just getting here. I couldn't be their roadblock. I packed quickly and called Linda. Linda, where are you? I'm coming over. But before I could finish, Linda was screaming. Ben, look at the trending topics. The tables turned. News that the full video was out quickly hit the top of the local list. It showed Tina in tears explaining herself while the unfriendly crowd was also put on display. Soon after, interest swerved towards the connection between her and this mysterious Eric. Within half an hour, it was wiped from trending, replaced with some dull entertainment news at the top. I didn't believe for a second there wasn't someone pulling strings. Once Eric's real identity came out, finding Lily would be no trouble. I figured Lily wanted to avoid more drama. But who released the video to escape Lily's plan? I wasn't sure. After the storm, Lily never reached out again. The preparation for the competition kept moving. What happened felt like a blip on the radar. The process thereon went smoothly, and my team did fantastically, clinching the top 3 spots at the provincial competition. In all those flashing lights, the girls bloomed with smiles, pushing their wheelchairs, embracing tightly alongside the song stars and sea. Because of the pre-match hiccup, the competition got more attention. The girl from the mountains won, and ad agencies promised to cover all her training costs. Amid the cheers and applause, I got a phone call. The moment I answered, an unexpected voice greeted me. Ben, you're incredible. That voice was distant but familiar, instantly throwing my memories back to another life. In a dim hospital room, the TV was on, showing a live news report. I had insomnia back then, couldn't sleep at all, feeling near a breakdown. One evening, as I listened to this soft and resolute female reporter narrating the news, I fell into a rare moment of peace. That voice became my nightly lullaby during those tough times. Until one day she appeared on the news. They said a reporter covering post, Disaster zones fell from the 17th floor, supposedly overwhelmed by what she'd seen, and took her own life. The program replayed clips of her interviews, and every time she encouraged others to stay strong. I didn't know what happened that led her to such an end overnight. The whole thing just felt wrong somehow. Hearing that voice again, I teared up. We agreed to meet at a cafe. Did you release the full video? The person in front of me is named Wendy, and her round face gradually matched the image I remembered from behind the camera when Tina's mom was pulling her that day. I'm relieved that, in this life, such a tragedy didn't befall her. It was me. Her voice still sounds so lovely, as gentle as a stream flowing through my heart. Why'd you help me? If Lily could use such evidence to threaten me, she's sure to keep all the key evidence to herself, probably through money or power. Being a reporter, she'd probably jump at the chance to exchange it for Lily's connections and resources in the media industry. Even if not, there's no point risking offending her to help me. My daughter is paralyzed. She lowered her head slightly, her eyes reddening as she began to speak. On the day of the earthquake, we planned to go to the park together, but I had to go out for work, leaving her and my husband at home. Later, she was crushed under a falling pillar and lost her legs. And your husband? She gave a faint smile. He was with someone else at a hotel downstairs, something I found out later. An image of her from a previous life, falling at that same hospital, flashed in my mind. I guessed it could be where her daughter was treated. My daughter really loved dancing. Her teacher said she had talent and wanted to recommend her to the best dance school. Her voice choked. She was so young. How could she handle all this? She was resistant to treatment and remained in a bad state until then. She looked up at me. During the post-earthquake reconstruction, I participated in your school's fall recruitment and heard what you said. I shared your words with my daughter and found wheelchair fencing videos for her. That night, she cried for a long time. The next morning, she told me, "Mom, I can dance even in a wheelchair." She also gave me her already written farewell letter. I looked back at her, surprised. If it weren't for you, she might have died. If she wasn't around, I wouldn't know where to find the courage to live on. The black and white photos from the past flashed in my mind, leaving me with a jolt of realization about how many unseen events had unfolded. This was an ending I never imagined. Lily contacted me, offering a fortune for a video, but I told her the camera malfunctioned and I didn't record it. Her daughter needed expensive medical treatment, and she was in a divorce battle with her ex-husband. She needed a lot of money, but she didn't mention any of this, though I knew it. If it weren't for you, I don't know what I would have been. She looked me in the eye, speaking with her usual strong tone. I once blamed myself, thinking I wasn't good enough to keep my husband, leading to my daughter's tragedy. But you said it right, we are like mountains, not streams. Why stop because of small obstacles? What I should do is make her pay the price. If your story needs a savior with a twist ending, I hope she's a woman. We aren't always fools fighting over men. Our swords can point to those who are cowards. She left, saying this. When entertainment news exploded, I was at the fencing team's celebration party. This time, Lily was the one who hit the headlines. What was exposed was explosive news from Eric's birthday. In the video, two people parted hastily, disheveled, with Tina looking bewildered holding a gift. The relationship between the three was discussed and escalated, finally sparking a public outcry. I don't know how Wendy got the video from Lily's close friends, but I know traitors are ultimately betrayed, and those who gather for profit eventually disperse when profits end. It's karma's cycle. Eric's budding career plummeted. Netizens compared him to the boy in the video, taking a long time to recognize him. Only after seeing his recent photos did I realize that once handsome boy had lost his vitality. Seeing no turning point, his manager also revealed that after his breakup, Eric underwent cosmetic surgeries like a madman, failing multiple times, losing his naturally good looks. In his early 20s, his face had become stiff. Without that face, he's become a discard attracting negativity. Infamous. Even the words he casually said to his friend once, "Tina, I'm just playing with her. If I don't push the boundaries, how would Lily feel hurt?" were leaked. I didn't know if Tina followed entertainment news or how she'd feel hearing the audio. The whole thing ended with Lily's investors being exposed for tax evasion. That self-righteous bigwig had multiple affairs, and evidence was provided by his former wife. The law awaited him. We'll continue following developments. This is your reporter Wendy, signing off. At the end of the news, a familiar voice filled my ears. The woman's eyebrows slightly curved, her tone light and melodious, yet carrying a sense of relief. It was years later when I saw Linda again. Studying abroad, she returned to avoid family marriage pressure. Improving herself with acting, she unintentionally became a prominent director. She found me saying the movie based on my life was in the works. Their class produced many talented directors, yet the once famous Lily tragically fell off the grid. None in the circle knew her whereabouts now, proving she was completely forgotten. Linda asked if there were any lines I wanted kept. I wrote one for her. Many years ago, someone despairing told me life and death are destined. Wealth is by fate. But what I want to tell you is, as long as you don't give in, there can be a destiny where it's my fate in my hands, not left to heaven. I told Linda that I wanted to photograph my first group of students as a prototype. The once dark and skinny girl from those days has now become a Paralympic champion. Every year, she sends me a photo from the competition. The girl in the picture has shed her awkwardness and beams confidently. It's a beauty that rivals anyone else, a beauty fueled by a thriving vitality. I've had many students over the years, and Linda invited most of them to participate in this event. These girls say I'm a savior, that I rescued many who had given up on themselves. I've surprisingly empathized with them and given many the courage to embrace life. But no one knows that my initial wish was simply to save myself. Yet, during those late night moments when I wake up, I hear the words of that person in the wheelchair. He said that I am one among millions, and when someone is trying to save themselves, to love themselves, they emit a courage even they couldn't anticipate. This kind of strength is what the world truly needs, giving the greatest value to becoming the protagonist of your own story. And I'm grateful that this time, I got to be the main character in my own world.